This weekend, a 37-year-old autistic virgin finally sealed the deal. Finally got carnal knowledge. Thanks to daytime cold approach, thanks to supervision, thanks to accountability. It's a monumental achievement and it's a monumental day, and this is going to be a monumental video. So for anyone new to the channel, I'm Joseph, aka Wingbro. On this channel I discuss cold approach and relationships. But today I'm going to tell you a very, very special story about a special guy. It is a story of persistence, skill acquisition, teamwork, and determination. And it is truly a hero's journey. So let us begin. So Ethan got in touch with me in March this year. He was out in Eastern Europe. He was traveling for the first time in years. And while he was out there, he was inspired to try to do some daytime approach. He'd seen some stuff online. He'd practiced a little bit in the past. He thought while he was on holiday, let's go, let's see if we can make something happen. And unfortunately for him, he wasn't ready. He didn't have the knowledge. And as he'd been following my channel for a while, he decided to book a call and to get in touch with me. When Ethan called me, I was actually on a meet in Barcelona. I was out with 7 or 8 other guys, having crazy times with approach in the streets and dating and all sorts of fun. And I got this call from Ethan, and we discussed his situation in very frank, straightforward terms. He seemed like a guy that knew what he wanted, but he also understood some of the blocks, some of the problems that he was running into. Many of the things I discuss on my video, all these roadblocks that guys hit when they try to do daytime approach, nighttime approach. So we spoke and made a plan to meet in Manchester in May. And as I mentioned, Ethan is neurodiverse. He has a type of autism known as Asperger's syndrome. Social difficulty. The brain doesn't process the social environment in the way that a neurotypical person's brain does. So he has to learn things in a different way. Because of other things I've done in the past, coaching and so on, I'd already worked with neurodiverse people over the years, so I felt positive we could go and get a result. In Ethan's case, reading between the lines, I felt that this was something of a last chance saloon for him. He'd been trying for 20 years to make something happen. He was 37 years old, and I could tell he felt that time was running out. So fast forward a couple of months, me and Ethan meet in central Manchester. And the guy came prepared. He was well dressed. I could see he took care of himself. He had a well-groomed beard. He obviously hit the gym. He's a strong guy. And it's obvious that, he was doing what he should have been doing. He was doing the right stuff. He was hitting the gym. He was looking good. He was taking care of fashion. But he had this tremendous issue, which was approach, which is an issue for most guys, but it was compounded 10x by the fact he had Asperger's syndrome. So we go out into the streets, we have a few discussions about how we're going to do the first stops, and we get ready to go. On the hallowed turf, one of the best approach environments in the UK, one of the best approach environments I've been in, the streets of central Manchester on a Friday afternoon. So we're ready to go. And as we're walking up Manchester, I look to him and say, this is what we're here for. Let's go get the first one done. And I will never forget this approach as long as I live. So Ethan sees his target, spots her, hones in like a missile, and puts both hands out like that. Says, stop. The girl looks extremely alarmed at this fairly hench looking guy putting his hands out to her like that. She dodges him, swerves around him, and there we go. That was approach number one. Approach number one. I thought, we may have some work to do here. But it was just a simple case of, okay, Ethan, let's just bring the hands down. If you're going to bring the hand up, it might just be a little, just one like that, not both, definitely. And so we carried on. We carried on approaching. Ethan was just very hungry. He was just very hungry. He just wanted it. So the girls that were attractive, he was just going straight in for. And as one of my wings who came down later in the day said, yeah, he's pretty rough around the edges, but he goes for it. So this was his profile coming in. And I noticed within his first 5 or 6 approaches, I noticed that despite the fact he was going over boldly and he was coherent in his conversation, I could see he'd been working on his conversation. He'd actually been doing some practice, over previous years, improving his conversation skills. I could see something in his face. His face looked, frankly, terrified. His eyes looked terrified. His facial expression was terrified. So he's going over, he's putting himself in there, but it wasn't fluid and it wasn't commanding enough. He's got a fairly commanding physical presence, but his face looked like a little scared little boy in the approaches. Now this is something that you can't see in your own approaches. He couldn't see in his own approaches. How is your face looking, right? What is your expression like? It's not always easy to tell. In fact, it's basically impossible to tell. So that was something we worked on pretty quickly within the first 6 or 7 approaches, just trying to get his facial expression to be more relaxed, just to get him to calm down into the sets. And as the day went on, he started to get a little bit of momentum and he started to ease in to the sets and he started to ease into the approaches. So we get towards the end of day 1 and Ethan has been approaching like an absolute soldier. He's been getting in short conversations, 1 minute, 2 minutes, decently attractive girls. And I'm starting to notice he's starting to make a bit of an impression when they stop. They're starting to look at him a little bit more of like, what have I got here? We get into Manchester Piccadilly and we look around for a set. There was one set that disappeared up an escalator, which Ethan actually chased her up the escalator. We had a discussion about this afterwards. I thought, is that one of those neurodiverse things? Because I probably wouldn't go up the escalator running up like that. So we talked about that, and I still don't have a conclusion on that one. I don't know what, that's an area I'm not so sure about. What do we do with escalators, yeah? If anyone knows, drop a comment below. And I always remember that first day because he got into a set with a girl who was just, she was just at the sandwich shop, just buying her stuff, and he went over and just did the approach. And this girl was gorgeous, man. This girl was gorgeous. Blonde, beautiful body, medium type of height, maybe slightly on the tall side, lovely energy about her. We were recording him at the time, so I could hear the audio. And he did a really good set with this girl. It was a really good set. He said something pretty funny in the set. He said something, again, probably a neurotypical person wouldn't have said. She asked him what he was doing in the train station. He said, I'm just checking where it is for tomorrow. And I thought, interesting thing to say, but it didn't really matter. Yeah, because he had good energy and they had a good vibe going on. That interaction lasted for about 2-3 minutes. And I could see on the girl's face, she liked him. I'm not saying she was wanting to jump into bed with him, but she definitely liked him. So that was the end of day 1. The guy pushed himself to his absolute maximum. Absolutely pushed it to the limit. Now, as Ethan was not local to Manchester, he travelled in. He decided on the Friday night he wanted to visit a club. He decided he wanted to go out, wanted to try and maximize this time, right? Get even more approaches in. Unfortunately, he didn't even get admitted into the clubs that he wanted to go to. So I think he just skulked around the streets for 20 minutes and then went home. So it wasn't the best Friday night for the guy. In any case, we get up the next day, we get ready to go, and we hit the streets again. And maybe it was the being rejected from the nightclub the day before, or maybe it was just the momentum from day 1. But on day 2, the gloves really started to come off. He really started to hit these approaches with a different energy. Right? He was going in with a more full masculine energy into these approaches. Right? Not intimidating, but just more grounded and more full. And it started to roll. We ended up going inside the shopping centre because it started to rain. And I distinctly remember one set he did, which was a mother-daughter set, like smack bang in the middle of a busy part of the mall. He goes straight in. These are 2 smoke shows. I mean, even the mum was smoking. The daughter she'd have been about 20. The mum was like in her 40s. She was a smoke show as well. And yeah, he just went in and completely commanded this set. And in this set, mother-daughter, I saw something shifting in the girl's response. There's a different type of response where the woman feels she's really in the presence of a man. This is not a little boyish approach, this is a man's approach. Something intrigued and also slightly submissive as well. And that's the state of both the mother and the daughter. I could see it in their faces. And I think they could see this chap isn't quite typical, but he definitely made an impact. I could see they frankly looked impressed, to be honest. Later in the mall, a couple of wings came down to join, and we just had some fun. They were approaching as well. And Ethan actually went in to a 2 set with 2 Muslim girls with not completely covered, but with some coverings on. So they're visibly Muslim, Middle Eastern. And we looked at, like, me and the wings looked at each other like, what the hell, what's going on here, you know? Is this some kind of, you go for a suicide approach here, my friend? And afterwards, I said to him, like, why'd you go for that one? That's a pretty crazy one. And he just went, yeah, I just wanted to break the barrier. I wanted to break the barriers. So that's the kind of guy he is. And that's what he wanted to do this weekend, was to break through the barriers, wanted to squeeze every drop out of this experience that he had with training. So Ethan continued to approach, and we continued to iterate over the course of the weekends. He got a couple of Instagrams. I don't think he got any numbers. I think he shot for a few, which is good. It's good to take those shots, but I think maybe he just got a couple of Instagrams. The main things we were working on, just obviously improving the stop to begin with, improving his facial expression, beginning to work on his vocal tonality, which is an issue, a big issue for people with Asperger's syndrome. Is one of the giveaways that someone is neuroatypical, is that. So I'm starting to work on that a little bit. And also just starting to boost maybe his sense of self as well. Actually, he's going out, he's putting in reps. You know, he's got a commanding physical presence. He's got attributes which he's worked for. You know, he's 3-4 times a week in the gym, building his physique up, right? He had a good style. He's got a lot of good attributes. Let's bring that in with a little bit of pride. You know, let's go in there and make an impact. And this is what he was starting to do by the end of the second day. And I remember it was the end of the second day. We just went for a coffee, went for a drink or something at the end of the session. We're just talking about experiences of approach, work, life, etc. And I remember one moment where he almost looked like dreamily into the distance, and he said, yeah, I just wanna have that one experience, man. I just wanna take a girl back just one time. And I remember thinking, wow, you know, it's a crazy world we're living in. You know, this guy, he's got so many good attributes, but because of a condition that he has, 37 years old, he's been trying for 20 years to get laid. 20 years, yeah, to find a girlfriend. He'd given up. He'd given up in his 20s. He came back again in his 30s, tried again, couldn't do it. Here he is at 37, now he's out in the streets with me, you know. I remember that moment so clearly. The look in his face, you know. It's a humble goal, you know, for many people. But Think back to when you're 15, 16, 17, 18, you've not had that experience yet. It's the only thing you give a shit about, frankly. And he's still there, 37 years old. So after the immersion, we part ways, and he has a 90-day support with me. That's part of his package. And with my students, I expect them to be out at least every weekend, really twice a week for the first 90 days. And so we continued on this odyssey. So Ethan, after the immersion, was back in the provinces, provincial England, right? What are you going to do? It's tough. It's tough. You've got the chavvy girls, the chavettes. That's for any Americans, that's lower class, low education, bad attitude, irritating, badly dressed English girls. They're some of the worst girls you can ever find. His area has got a lot of them. So he's going into London. He's trying to fight with these chavettes, trying to find the good ones, in the daytime. And he's just pushing himself into session after session. He's being consistent, which is good. He also started a nighttime crusade because he had it in his mind that, well, there's a lot of attractive girls in the nighttime, and they're also dressed very sexy as well. That was appealing to him, obviously. And there's also a concentration of women in a club. But the issue is, you're in a local provincial club full of like 18 to 20-year-olds as a 37-year-old Asperger's syndrome guy on his own who's hench with a beard. Going over to his approaches, he was struggling because in a club it's even more unforgiving. And so anything you do that's off can be interpreted as weird, and if it's weird, it will be interpreted as threatening. And so he was getting into all sorts of things. He was getting himself kicked out of clubs repeatedly, not through any malice, just because he was coming off in a certain way, and the girls just didn't like it. He did a street approach and seemed to be going well until a boyfriend came along, basically started a fight with him. He floored this guy and then picked him up and just was like, yeah, sorry mate, they just dusted it off. So he's going out, doing all this nighttime stuff as well. So this guy's like a man on a mission, right? He wants to get it done. All sorts of stuff. He would message me with the most insane stories. And I always remember one that he sent me where he'd got a girl, like a super hot black girl in a group, and he'd like approached the group, and there was a big issue seller that he'd been talking to as he was walking. Then he goes in for the set, and he's got this girl solo, and she's really digging him, like she's really giving him the sex eyes, and they're literally like up against a bus stop, like ready to kiss, right? And then one of the chavvy girls starts mouthing off at the big issue seller, and they started having an argument. And so it all starts to kick off, and Ethan's kiss evaporates with this girl. They all buzz off, and he's basically got his set blown out by a big issue seller, which is definitely a first. I've never heard of that before in day or night time, to be honest with you. So that's one thing he weathered. Just generally, it was just like real trials and tribulations, but particularly at night time. And he was making progress, but you can imagine this is tough going. This is tough going solo. And there was a point during the summer where I said to him, we're going to have to re-strategize a little bit. Let's cut out the nighttime. He was determined on the nighttime, but I said, let's cut it out because there's just too many factors against you. Even though there are a lot of attractive women in a concentrated space, it's for someone with that condition, it's really difficult. It's really difficult. It's difficult for anyone. And also especially in those like provincial towns as well. When I was a club promoter, I was in a good city on good nights, on really the best night in the city. That was where I was rolling. And then my nighttime experience before that was in good places, right? And it was still not that easy, to be honest. But a lot of it comes down to the venue. I would say more than 50%, probably 70% is the venue. You can do everything, and you can be in a shit city, and you can be ineffective. And then you can go to a good city and you can go, wow, I got 8 numbers tonight. I just got a same night late, whatever it is, right? So yeah, he's not in a good situation for nightlife. And he's still firing away, but we started to look at, okay, can we re-strategize here? Let's try some other things. So I got him to consider signing up for a meetup group with other neurodiverse people, which he's signed up for. He's still yet to go to one, but he is planning on getting to some of these meetups. Right? If you are neurodiverse and you've been doing some daytime approach, you've been working on your social skills, really, if you go back with the rest of that group of people, you're going to be a king amongst men there, because your social skills are going to be so much more advanced and confidence is going to be more advanced than anyone else. So that was one thing we did. We also took a look at social media as well, just to give him a little bit of a calling card, not for something, not to use it as such. We definitely prefer WhatsApps, but just to improve that a little bit, just to give him a bit of a calling card. And we also discussed as well, being open about the fact he's got Asperger's syndrome at some point in the approach, if it goes beyond a certain time period, because ultimately you can't hide it. And why should you hide it? You haven't done anything wrong. It's not a crime. It's just the way you're born. Be proud of it. It gives you some interesting insights. It gives you an interesting way of looking at the world. So we discussed that as well. And again, just reaffirming being proud of yourself. Actually, chest out, this is who I am and this is what I want and I'm interested in you. Yeah, it's very attractive to women. And so we discussed readjusting. So he's going back out again. And we hit the end of the 90-day period. So his support officially is now over. Yeah, because of limited time, there's only so much I can do with people. And he's still not achieved his goal. However, given how much he'd actually put in up to that point, my attitude was, I'll continue to support this guy until we achieve his goal. Because of what he's putting in. Yeah, no man left behind. Yeah, no man left behind. I'm not leaving a guy who's putting in this type of effort, this type of work. I'm not leaving him behind. No way. I'm going to be on him. Yeah, so I continued. We continued to be in touch. Obviously, winter's drawing in though. Winter is drawing in. It's not so good for approach as the winter. It gets colder in the UK. Girls aren't as flirty. You don't want to even be out, to be honest, in those cold, drizzly winter months. He's starting to even run out of resources as well. He was actually, because of his Asperger's, he had periods of time where he was actually on disability, justifiably, because hard to actually find a job that you can do consistently, because everything is communication based. If that's your biggest issue, then it's difficult, right? So he's even like struggling financially. There's one night out, he goes on a final roll of the dice with his nightlife, where he actually slept in a gym. Yeah, he went to the club, tried to get something going, and instead of booking a hotel, he didn't even have any money. He just slept in a 24-hour gym, which he then got kicked out of and banned from. So again, I can't really emphasize how committed this guy was to his process, right? And yeah, but it's not looking good. Like, as autumn draws in, things are not looking too good. Winter's on the horizon, and he's even concerned. Like, he's gonna have to go and become a lorry driver, because he's like running out of his resources. Right? He's got training. He's got other things he can do. He's qualified for other fields, but he can't get in. He can't get a foot in the door. And it's tough, man. It's tough. Things are looking bleak, man. A lonely winter driving lorries. That is what is awaiting Ethan at this point. So, yeah. Sometimes it's darkest before the dawn. Maybe it was in this case. But just a few weeks ago, I get a message from Ethan, and he said, this week has been crazy. I've just got a new job, and it's my dream job. It's a job I qualified to do years ago. I've never been able to get my foot in the door, and he's just got his new dream job. And on top of that, he's just had his first instant date from Cold Approach. Same week, he was out, I think he was in London, and he had a 2-hour instant date with a girl he'd approached in the street, had this amazing connection with her. And he said to me, wow, I felt so, as I was coming back on the train, I just felt so whole. Like he was just complete. He didn't need anything else. Wow. Nice turnaround, nice turnaround. And I knew actually this was just a start. I knew this was just a start. I knew he would turn the corner because of everything I'd seen, and I could see his overall profile. I knew you put in that type of work, you sacrifice to the gods of the streets to this extent, they will reward you. They must. And he doesn't know this, but just as I was writing up for my website that's coming up in a few weeks, just as I was writing up his testimonial, I got a message from him. So let me just read the message out now here on my beautiful Samsung. Just got the lay with the girl from the 2-hour Insta date. I would say your job is done. Salute emoji. Yeah. Salute right back. Salute right back to Ethan. So yeah, I just sat there with the biggest grin on my face for like 30 minutes. I was just so buzzed. It completely made my day. Honestly, more than it would have if I just, if I had a same day late that day, it would not have made my day as much as that did. It was absolutely incredible news to get. And I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. I knew it was just a matter of when and how long and with who. Because this guy was just relentless. Yeah, it was an amazing bit of news. I shared it with friends and stuff. He doesn't know this, but yeah, people were making very positive comments, man, because 20 years of trying to get laid. 20, and we did it in 6 months. And this is with a significant disadvantage of Asperger's syndrome. And Ethan has had so many opportunities to quit. There's so many times he may have wanted to give up. There's so many times he went out and struggled, not just in this last 6 months, but for decades. But he didn't quit. He stayed in. Yeah. You could just lay down and die. You could go, yeah, I give up. Give up with relationships. I give up with women. There's a lot of channels out there advocating that. Yeah. A lot of guys who themselves failed and won't step up, won't go and get help, won't go and get their mates around them, go and let's see if we can make something of this life. There's plenty of channels like that. Yeah? Plenty of people out there with that kind of attitude. Ethan took a different path. Yeah? Fuck that. He took his own path. Took the path of righteousness, man. Took the path of the Spartan. Yeah? You know what that means? It means you don't surrender. Ever. Yeah? Come back with your shield or on it. Yeah, this is only girls, man. It's only going up to women. We're not fucking fighting the Persians. It's not that bad. Just a few uncomfortable emotions to begin with. Yeah? In Ethan's case, I would say it was a fairly Spartan thing he's had to do because of his disadvantages. Yeah? And now all of that has now turned around. All of that effort and all of that application and all of that determination for years, and especially the last 6 months, it's all turned around. Getting the right coach around him as well. Having someone who actually knows that you can do it and who will continue to push with you until it happens. Yeah? You get the right people, the right places, the right skill set, amazing things can happen. Amazing things can happen. And Ethan has now crossed the threshold. It's now going to be easier for him, if he wants to continue to see the girl he's just been with, or if he wants to, whatever he wants to do next, he has now crossed the threshold. He has stepped through the portal. He is now on the other side. Yeah? He has now seen the promised land. He's seen the reward. Right? We're designed for this. We're built for this. Yeah? Our biology is built for it. You're never going to be satisfied just jacking it to porn. You're never going to be satisfied getting with a girl you don't even particularly fucking like because she's the best thing you can do. You're never going to be satisfied with that. You want something that actually gets you going. And you want someone you actually connect with. Yeah. And I know in Ethan's case, this is just the beginning for him. I know that it is. Professionally, romantically, he has got it all to come for the rest of his 30s, for the rest of his 40s. Yeah, I'll be out there leading the charge through my 40s. I'm 4 years old now. So he's got it all to come. He's got it all to come. It's a late starter, but that's fine. Who cares? Yeah, we got there. And now anybody watching this, if you are still watching this, you now have a pretty significant call out, don't you, my friend? If you got this far and you watched this far in the video, you've got a pretty significant call out. Because if a 37-year-old virgin with Asperger's syndrome can do this with the right support, and you're sat there, neurotypical, maybe you got a few advantages, maybe you got a good job, maybe you're quite good looking, but your dating life fucking sucks because you just can't get it together. You can't go and approach. It's too intimidating. It's too much. The moment's too much. It's too stressful. The spotlight effect. You get the heart palpitations. You get all of it. I know what it is. Yeah. You think I didn't have that? I know what it is. Yeah. The skill set as well. But yeah, Ethan has proved it. Ethan has proved it. What's your excuse? What is your excuse? You got, just sit there and think about this. If you're watching this video, sit there and think about it. Why aren't you where you want to be? You want to be a beggar your whole life, yeah? Or do you want to be a fucking Spartan? Do you want to get the fucking shield, get the armor, and go out there with your boys? Start to make it happen. Stop waiting around and start making it happen. Like Ethan did, he made the decision to be a fucking warrior, yeah? A warrior of the light. So Ethan, I salute you, my brother. Your story is extremely inspiring, and it throws down a challenge to any other man who simply believes, oh, this is for guys who are rich or 6'8" or whatever. It throws down a challenge to everybody. Throws down a massive challenge. This guy's got the balls to fucking go and do it, yeah? And he took more than his fair share of licks, as I've just illustrated in that video. What's stopping you, my friend? Maybe the licks will be good for you. Maybe they'll be good for you, yeah? Maybe those kicks in the nuts are exactly what you need. I still get them. I still have bad sessions now. I have more good than bad, but I still have bad ones, yeah? They're good for you, yeah? So yeah, for Ethan, things are going to be a lot easier moving forward. But if you're here and you're stuck, my honest advice is don't suffer alone. That's my honest advice. Yeah, cold approach is honestly, in my opinion, too difficult to do alone, especially for Western guys. They're so beaten down. Just the mental, emotional shift alone is going to be too much. Never mind the technical stuff. You'll go, even if you've got the balls to go and approach, and by the way, if you do, good for you. Good for you. Kudos. But even if you do, the chances are you're doing 5, 6, 10 things wrong, and you can't even see them. And this is what I found to be true in approach. There's people who are problem aware. They know that they lack maybe 1 or 2 things, and then we get them into the approaches, and it's like, no. It's not 1 or 2 things, it's about 15 different things that you lack, and you don't even know the things that you lack, unfortunately. So we're gonna have to sort those out, yeah? And that's how people get results fast. That's how people get results very, very fast. Yeah, most guys are getting results within a day or 2, yeah? But obviously it depends on the profile of the guy. But if you're suffering alone, it's a tough place, man. It's a tough place. I've ranted and raved, and obviously I'm on camera. Can be challenging to the camera, yeah? But actually, as a coach, I'm extremely empathetic. Extremely. Because for any man who goes in there and goes and takes this journey of cold approach, I have true respect for. And you will get the results. You will get the results. It really is just a question of time. And having the correct methodology and emotional support as well. Yeah, that's the other side to all this chest beating stuff, is the emotional support. You need it. Yeah. There's days when I go out solo and I'm just like, this is fucking horrible. I message my boys. I message other guys who are going out. Yeah. No one is special. We're all flesh and blood. We're all blood and bone, blood and bronze. So allow me now to introduce my service and my programs. The program that took Ethan from a 37-year-old virgin, a guy that had been trying for 2 decades to get laid, to finally have his experience. And after just 72 hours of working with me and ongoing support, he was able to completely change his outlook. He finally sealed the deal. And to boot, that increased confidence and that increased social exposure actually assisted him in getting a new job as well. So if you're a guy who's looking to get started with Approach, you've never done it before, I would point you towards a 3-day immersive program. If you're experienced and you're looking to go from a 3 or 4 out of 10 to an 8 or 9 out of 10, to go from mediocre, a little bit frustrated, to absolutely elite, to truly dangerous, a true Sicario of the game, you have the option of the in-person program and also remote support as well. So if you're not sure what kind of a program you're going to need, if you're not really sure about this whole thing, just go to the link below, calendly.com/wingbro, book a call with me. I'll discuss where you're at the moment. We'll do a little bit of a case history, we'll look at your goals, and I will just give you straightforward, candid advice about what I think is the best way for you to go. It may be coming in to do an immersion with me, it may not be. I will just give you no BS advice. So if you resonate with my content and you would like some further input, just go to the link below, calendly.com/wingbro. And the approach I take with the in-person immersions is to get guys to come and train with me in absolutely premium locations. Locations where you have so much beauty to go at, you just have endless motivation, right? So Manchester is my favorite city in the UK. It's really the fashion center of the UK. There's a great cityscape for Approach as well, and the girls are very approachable. I've also taken immersions out in Belgrade, yeah, the capital of Serbia. Hey, everyone who knows the Balkans knows that that is just Badistan. And I'm out here in Dominican Republic. I call this place a factory of wives. It's a factory of wives. Attractive, curvaceous girls, spirited, and just so many of them are just everything you would want in a wife. And these locations are slightly underrated. They're not really known about. Everybody knows about Milan. Everybody knows about New York. People don't know about these locations. It is an underground, there's an underground vibe to going out there as one of the very few foreign guys. Yeah. So you're leveraging your own exotic presence as well. If you're English, American, Canadian, and Aussie, right? Anglophiles. Some places we are still pretty exotic and exciting. And really it ends up being an opportunity for guys just to remove themselves physically and emotionally and mentally from their work, from their own country, from all their surroundings, and environments which are often quite stifling, you know, and just take a breather, you know, just sort of be in the street with me, the wing bro, just going around causing absolute mayhem and improving, right? And improving is such a brilliant way to spend a weekend. It's fun, it's dynamic, and you're learning a skill that you're going to take forward for the rest of your life. And you only need to learn it once. Yeah, then it's just a case of implementation. And just as a final note, if you are looking for an adventure for New Year's Eve, I'm also going to be running a special New Year's immersion in Santo Domingo in December. So if you're interested in that, of course, get on a call and we can talk, or put a comment below. So boys, I hope this video has been inspiring to you. I hope it's exploded and expanded your understanding of what is possible. Yeah. And thank you, Ethan, for giving us all this incredible example of what can be achieved. My brothers, this is Joseph. I'll catch you in the next one. And I think maybe one or two of you, I'll be seeing you soon.